If you have or suspect you may have a health problem, or if you require answers to specific healthcare questions or concerns, you should consult your physician or healthcare provider and not depend solely on information presented in this program.
Coming up today on To Your Health, gut health. We've all had gut feelings about people and situations. Before we even have the facts, we can know something. There's a reason for that. The gut is the core of our being. It all starts there. Today, we'll talk to medical experts about the critical importance of digestive health and how it impacts every part of our health and well-being. And they'll share their own personal health journeys that led them to approach healing the gut in holistic and integrative ways. We'll also prepare a delicious gut-friendly smoothie to help us start the day right. That's all coming up next on To Your Health. We're talking today about gut health, the digestive system, and how important it is to our overall health. So, of course, then, it makes sense to say that we are what we eat. But what exactly are we eating, and where is it coming from? Today, we're joined by Dr. Maya Shetreat-Klein, a pediatric neurologist, herbalist, urban farmer, naturalist, and author of The Dirt Cure, Growing Healthy Kids with Food Straight from Soil. She's also the founder of the Terrain Institute, where she teaches about terrain medicine. Dr. Maya lives with her family in New York City, where, believe it or not, she grows organic fruit and vegetables and keeps 8 chickens on her urban farm. You sound like you have an interesting life. Thanks for being here.
It's my pleasure.
So I love the title of this. So what is the Dirt Cure?
Well, the Dirt Cure is really 3 things. It's being exposed to microbes, it's eating fresh food grown in healthy soil, and it's getting outside in nature. And for me, those are the 3 foundations of children's health and really for everyone's health.
And it was your son, yes, that kind of inspired you to write this book through some of the symptoms that he was encountering?
Yeah, well, so at a year old, he suddenly started to have asthma-like symptoms out of nowhere. And we tried many, medications and different things, but no one could really say why all of a sudden he was having these issues. And along with the issues, he started to have a little bit of a developmental regression where he was falling more often. He stopped gaining new words. And I started to see that there were a lot of connections eventually between what was happening in his lungs and what was happening in his brain. And we realized after quite a bit of searching and going to different doctors that he actually had a soy allergy. Once we removed the soy, within 2 weeks, all of his symptoms disappeared.
That's amazing.
It was amazing, but the hardest part was that no doctor had any help for us in that time, and I had to do all the research and detective work myself. But once I recognized it, I saw that not only could I help him, but I could also help all my patients because a lot of their neurologic problems ended up also being connected to what was going on in their gut, what was going on in their immune system, and ultimately all of that was affecting their brains.
So was it your son that got you interested in this, or were you aware of the connection between the gut and our overall health prior?
You know, I kind of think of children as our spiritual teachers in a certain sense, and really, like, I call him my muse, because although I was always really interested in healthy food, and I definitely had an out-of-the-box way of looking at, medicine from the beginning, I think that my experience with him was really incredibly revealing and really did help me to know what next steps to take, with my patients and eventually to share with everybody.
So, I'm sure you know and agree that the rates of autism and ADD in this country are skyrocketing. Why is that? There's a connection between these conditions, you believe, and the health of the gut.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're not just seeing autism, ADHD increasing, but type 1 diabetes is going up 6% per year in children ages 0 through 5. Asthma, allergies, all of these different conditions are skyrocketing. And it seems that there's a problem of basically kids are too sanitized.
That's really what it is?
That's a big part of it is, we're not letting them get infections. We
giving them too many antibiotics.
Swoop in with antibiotics, steroids, and all these things that really alter the immune system and don't allow their immune systems to get the experience that they need to be strong. We're sanitizing them with hand sanitizer. We're sanitizing their lives. They're not literally not going outdoors. They're on
They're sitting in
screens
front
all
of their
day.
computers all day.
They don't even have recess to the extent that we as kids had recess. They're not outdoors. So all these different ways, are ultimately affecting their bodies and their brains because they're as aware, the body is as aware of absence as it is of presence of different, exposures, and it needs those.
Can you help us understand the connection between the health of our guts and the health of our brains, that connection between the two?
Sure. So, our guts are really exposed to, they're the outside world. Even though it's inside our body, everything kind of comes through our gut. And we have a huge immune system in our gut, as well as a whole nervous system in our gut. We have a lot of neurons, and our digestive tract makes more neurotransmitters than our entire central nervous system. So these are not totally separate systems. They're actually very enmeshed. And when something's going wrong in the gut, like the immune system will suddenly start to send out messages to the whole body, including the brain, saying something's wrong here. When that happens, it activates immune cells everywhere. It could be in the lungs, and then you might see asthma. You could be in the brain, and you might see migraines or ADHD or seizures or even autism. All of these things can start in the gut.
And I said when I introduced you that you founded the Terrain Institute, and you've trademarked this term called terrain medicine. So I assume that there's some connection between that and dirt, right?
Yes, definitely. So terrain, the idea of terrain is that we have an internal terrain, which is kind of our bioterrain. That's our bodies. And then we have an ecoterrain, which is the world around us. And that's the natural world and food and microbes, right? Which become part of our microbiome. Nature, our relationship with trees and plants and all of those things. And we can't be healthy in our bioterrain when we're not in alignment with our ecoterrain. So what I really talk about is a form of earth-based medicine, which I think we really need to think about the big picture and how we're going to be healthy as people and as a planet.
But what do you mean by earth-based medicine?
It's really looking at all these natural sort of elements, our water, our plants, our soil. 1 teaspoon of soil has as many organisms as there are people on the entire planet. And here we're talking about taking probiotics, the healthy bacteria for our gut. And
you're a proponent of that, I would
yeah,
think.
Absolutely. But the truth is that the best probiotic in the world is going outdoors and, being in the soil, letting kids play and make mud pies, roll down hills and, and run around outside. You're going to have the best microbiome in the world.
Because then you're exposed to these microbes and then
they regulate your gut. They help you with digestion. Now we're even learning, they help regulate your immune system, but we actually know that there are certain organisms called psychobiotics that influence our mood, our focus, our cognition, our ability to learn and remember, our sleep. So this is something that has a huge impact on our overall health and well-being.
Are there good germs and bad germs?
I think that's an interesting question because, we're learning. First, we thought bacteria were bad. Now we know bacteria are mostly pretty good. And what we're learning is that having diverse bacteria, meaning many different kinds of bacteria, protect us from any one kind of bacteria growing out of control. So really, there are probably a few bacteria that are really nasty, but for the most part, it has to do with how diverse the organisms are in our body and how healthy our bodies are that determines whether they're bad or good for us. And we're even learning now that viruses, parasites can be healthy for us. It all depends on our bodies and the health of, our bioterrain.
So when parents with children who maybe have cognitive or behavioral issues or neurological issues come to you and you tell them, make sure that they go outside and play more in the dirt and I'm sure eat healthy food grown from healthier soil, bioorganic, what kinds of changes do you see in those children?
In the beginning, when I first started to do this, I felt like I was literally seeing miracles every day. I mean, because I had never learned anything like this in my training. So I knew how to medicate, and I knew there were a lot of things that I did know how to do. And sometimes you have to do those things because people come in, extreme situations and sometimes you have to put out the fires. But It's so rare now that I write prescriptions because I just don't have to. And I see really dramatic changes. I mean, kids become seizure free. I see, things like ADHD where we can like wean the kids off of the medication they're on. They're doing well in school, going from getting C's to getting straight A's. Migraines gone. So it's really gratifying. It's amazing work. And, that was part of why I wrote the book, was just so that people weren't dependent on coming to see me to learn how they can help their kids.
So what are you prescribing if you're not prescribing medications?
Well, number one, I'm prescribing, a diet that is whole foods, nutrient dense, and free as much as possible of processed food. And sometimes that's dramatic. We look also at possible food sensitivities or allergies to see if there could be something triggering inflammation. We might do things like probiotics if needed and nutritional supplements, but especially botanicals because I'm also trained as an herbalist. And then really also looking at what kind of activities the kids are doing, getting them outside. Sometimes it's also just about reducing their overscheduled lives. All of these things make a huge difference. And, we can see really dramatic improvements.
And what kinds of improvements?
We can see everything from, improved migraines to better focus in school and better grades to seeing real reversal in autism symptoms and behavior, improved OCD, you name it, we can see really, really big improvements. And, it's just very gratifying.
I bet it is. It's fascinating work. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
When we come back, we'll talk with Dr. Vincent Pedre, author of Happy Gut, and hear about his integrative Eastern-Western approach to gut health. Welcome back. This is To Your Health. And today we're talking about gut health. You may know that the gastrointestinal system is responsible for digesting and absorbing nutrients from food and for getting rid of waste. But did you also know that it's the largest organ of our immune system, and it influences immunity in all of our other organs? Our overall health comes down to the state of our gut. Dr. Vincent Pedre is a board-certified internist and functional medicine certified practitioner in private practice in New York City. He's the author of Happy Gut, the cleansing program to help you lose weight, gain energy, and eliminate pain. Dr. Pedre, thanks for being here.
It's great being here. Thank you.
So happy gut, what is a happy gut and why is it so important?
Well, what I like to say is that it all starts in the gut. We knew this back at the turn of the 1900s when the type of medicine that was practiced was more naturopathic. And we kind of lost our way along the years as pharmaceutical-driven medicine took over. And it's really interesting because we are making our way back to the gut with an incredible amount of research that is showing the importance of the gut microbiome in everything from regulating our mood to our appetite, to cravings, to how much energy is absorbed, and even your weight and how much weight you put on or if you can lose weight.
And you have kind of a personal interest in this because you suffered from IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, for a number of years?
I would have called it a nervous stomach growing up. I always had kind of like those butterfly feelings in the stomach, especially if I was nervous about a test or if I was, back then I used to perform the piano. But what happened was I got sick often and I started taking antibiotics. So the doctors prescribed antibiotics, and I was probably on at least 2 or 3 antibiotics per year throughout my teenage years. And knowing what I know now, it wiped out my gut microbiome. And as a result of that, it created leaky gut or gut hyperpermeability. And what that did was it made me sensitive to 2 of the biggest food groups that I was eating, which was wheat and dairy. And that was what was weakening my immune system. To speak back to what you said in the beginning, that 70% of our immune system is right here along our gut lining, and it's continuously surveying, it's looking to see what's coming through. And if your gut becomes leaky, which means if you think of the gut as a cheesecloth, and if the holes are really tiny, it's just letting in the nutrients. When your gut becomes leaky, imagine those holes get bigger. So now bigger particles can get through that are not supposed to get through, like partially digested proteins. And that's how people develop sensitivities to different foods, like wheat and dairy being among the top 2. But I see all types of food sensitivities.
So did you cut out wheat and dairy and that made a difference?
So eventually, once I figured this out, I cut out dairy first, and I noticed that I wasn't getting sick as often. And that's when I really started, that was in medical school, and I started making the connection, even though we weren't taught that nutrition was that important in medical school. We were basically spent most of our time studying medications and pharmaceuticals, how they affect the body. But once I cut out dairy and I saw that I stopped getting sick as often, I made that connection, and it was my first aha moment that, wow, there is something to nutrition. Later on, I figured out that wheat was a problem. That was a little harder to figure out because the symptoms weren't clear. It was more mental fog, it was fatigue, things that you just think, well, I'm tired because I work long hours. You couldn't just say, okay, wheat is causing this, until I took gluten and wheat out and I saw how much better I felt and how much better I felt in my gut.
You have a program called the Gut Care Program.
Gut Care.
Yeah, it's a 28-day program to cleanse, activate, restore, and enhance.
You got it right, yes.
I remembered it. So
Gut Care is an acronym that I created for a 4-step plan for healing the gut. And it's a program that I've been using with my patients now for a number of years and having amazing success with it. And I can say since the publishing of my book that I've helped thousands of people heal their gut that I've never met before, which is incredible because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be able to reach more people than I could possibly see in any day in my office. It's just, there's a limit in the amount of hours and time, but I wanted to get this really important information out there because I feel like so many people are suffering from gut issues or gut-related health issues that could be allergies, asthma, hives, even autoimmune disease is connected to the gut. And you don't have to have symptoms in your gut to have a gut-related health issue. So like going back to the beginning, everything is related to the gut.
So what's the gist of the program though?
So basically, cleanse is about taking out all the inflammatory foods and eating clean. And by clean, I mean eating organic. If you're a meat eater, eating meat that has been grass-fed, hormone-free, free-range, no antibiotics. Activate is about getting the gut, the digestive system working again. So giving it the nutrients that it needs, the omega-3 fatty acids, the digestive enzymes if they're inadequate, and getting things to work again so you can absorb your nutrients. Restore is about restoring the gut flora. So pretty much everyone. Probiotics, but also so important, prebiotics. And these are foods that feed the gut flora. So things like Jerusalem artichoke, dandelion greens, even garlic and onions, scallions, they have prebiotic inulin that helps build a healthy gut flora, and that's what creates health. And diversity in the gut is what creates good health. And then enhance is about healing the gut lining. And so that involves nutrients like L-glutamine that has been proven to reverse leaky gut syndrome, and other nutrients like DGL, which is a derivative of licorice, and aloe vera. So these are all things that I use together. And ultimately, what I like to tell people is eat the rainbow. When you're eating the rainbow of colors in your food, the purples, the reds, the greens, the yellows, the blues, by combining all these colors in a 7-day week, then you're feeding your gut flora the variety of nutrients that it needs to be diverse and healthy.
And if you do this over a period of 28 days, you should start to see the reversal.
Even within 2 weeks of the program, I made it 28 days long because if you're eating the standard American diet or the very inflammatory diet, and the example would be burgers, French fries, and milkshake, it will take 2 weeks for your gut lining to begin the healing process and for your immune system to start to quiet down. And typically on the first week, people get detox symptoms, so they might feel more tired. You might get worse symptoms, headaches, mental fog. And that starts, and well, I take people off of coffee also.
Why is that?
Because coffee is a big drain on the liver. So we want to clear the liver to let the liver do its detoxing action. So I substitute it. So not.
So you probably get a lot of resistance. You're like, I can't drink coffee.
I know,
I can't
they
eat
tell me.
bread. I
So
can't have cheese.
I substitute it, so it's not that you can't have caffeine, but I have people drink green tea instead of coffee because green tea is amazing anti-inflammatory, antioxidant. It increases your liver's ability to get rid of toxins. And
it still has a little caffeine.
And it has a little caffeine, and it's just a great body cleanser.
Don't you come up against resistance? Don't you have people who are like, I don't want to get off the bread. I don't want to get off the cheese.
And I tell them, but they come in and they say, well, I want to feel this way. I want to feel better. I want to have more energy. I don't want to have mental fog in the afternoon. My body is achy. And I said, well, then you've got to commit to this program. And really, I think anyone can commit to doing something for 28 days, for 4 weeks. That's easy to do. And the way it goes is the first week is a detox week. By the end of the first week, things are turning around. And the person is saying, this seems to be working. By the end of the second week, your immune system is calming down. So if you have food sensitivities, your immune system is starting to tone down. And then the following 2 weeks is really just enforcing, because I really think it takes more time to heal. We're talking about a small intestine that is 20 feet long and about the surface area of a tennis court. And the large intestine is about 5 to 6 feet long. So it's a really big surface area that needs time to heal. And that's why I felt that for the first 2 weeks is just the washout from all the bad habits, the inflammatory foods, the coffee, the caffeine. And the second week is about healing the body and really getting to what I call the blank slate, getting to baseline again, where then you can test each of the foods. So one of the foods I take out are eggs. And a lot of people love to eat eggs. And of course, I recommend pasture-raised chicken, like no antibiotic, omega-3 rich eggs. But I had a patient that did not know she had a reaction to eggs. After the 4 weeks, like I said, you get to blank slate. So now you can see how your body really reacts to foods. When she reintroduced eggs, she broke out in hives. And she didn't know she had a problem with eggs before, because when your body is in storm, because you're eating all the things that are not good for your body can't give you the right signals. You're getting a headache, a migraine, you feel achy one day, you feel tired another day. You don't know why you're having these symptoms until you get to that blank slate. That's why I created this 28-day program to then help people not only feel better, but to figure out what is the right diet for you, which are the foods that trigger you.
So you're going to stick around after the break and you're going to show us one of your favorite little, I guess, morning dishes, quote unquote.
We're going to make a morning smoothie. I call it my blue ginger smoothie.
I look forward to it. So when we come back, we're going to show you how to prepare Dr. Pedre's smoothie that is not only gut-friendly, but totally delicious. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We're here with Dr. Vincent Pedre, a functional medicine practitioner and the author of Happy Gut. Dr. Pedre loves cooking and whipping up smoothies. And today he's going to show us how to make one of his favorite smoothies that's not only gut healthy, but totally delicious. So this is the blue ginger smoothie, right?
This is one of my favorites, yes, the blue ginger. And it's blue ginger because it has blueberries and ginger.
Ginger.
Of course. So, but let's get started. So first we're going to put almond milk.
Okay, almond milk. And this is...
So no dairy, remember. So the program is dairy-free. So I use almond milk instead, or any nut milk.
And this is what you make in the morning?
This is what I make in the morning. This is my breakfast. Perfect. And then we'll put a scoop of my protein powder.
Okay, now this has what inside of it?
So it has protein, it's hypoallergenic, plant-based. It has green tea extract. It has anti-inflammatory gut nutrients. It's really great for healing the gut lining. And then we're going to throw in this coconut manna.
Coconut manna. What is coconut manna?
So coconut manna is kind of like coconut oil, but it has a little bit of the meat of the coconut in it. So it gives it a bit of a sweet flavor. And it has MCTs, which are medium-chain triglycerides, which are great for the brain. So they make you sharp. Then we'll throw in the blueberries.
Now, do you want organic blueberries?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. And these are very high in
anything that
antioxidants.
is any produce that can potentially have pesticides absorbed through the skin because the skin is really thin, you want to try to buy organic when you can. The next we have Brazil nuts. So Brazil nuts are great. They add more healthy fats, and they have selenium, which is good for the thyroid, and they have other trace minerals. So really great way to balance out the ingredients in the smoothie. And then next we're going to add
Ginger, and you've already cut a little
So I
piece.
already prepped, so we're not adding the whole ginger. We're just adding about 1.5 inches of ginger.
To be prim and proper. There we go.
And then I'll help with this. We're gonna add
Half a
banana.
So this is enough sort of for 2 people?
This would be enough for 2 people. I mean, I'm kind of like a growing man, so I can drink this whole thing myself.
And do you make this every morning?
I make this probably most mornings. I just did a group cleanse with people from all over the country. And so I've been doing this for the last 28 days. And I can tell you that even, you kind of forget how good you can feel doing this and having, because this is a great way to pack in a lot of nutrients in your breakfast without having to go. I mean, how long did it take us to do this?
I know.
Just a few minutes. So.
And it's going to be filling. This is going to be a filling breakfast.
This is going to be really filling. So here we go. Doesn't take that long.
No.
So if you're in a rush, and I have my patients that tell me, well, I don't have time for breakfast. Well, you don't have 5 minutes?
No, this is nothing. Yum. I love smoothies. I mean, who doesn't like a smoothie though, right? Okay. Cheers.
Cheers.
Let's see. Yummy.
You can taste the blueberries, and you can taste the little bit hint of ginger, which is also anti-inflammatory. And it's quite filling. So this will keep you until lunchtime.
It will? It really will?
Yeah.
Okay, and so if I did this for 28 days, I would begin to do what to my gut?
You begin to heal the gut lining, and you really improve your nutrition. So it's not only that you're healing the gut lining, but you're gonna make your whole body healthier.
Well, thank you so much for being here. What a pleasure.
Thank you.
So that is our show today. Check out our show page for more information on this episode. Thank you so much for watching. Here's to your health. I'm Portland Helmich.